Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kam kuroti vachavam pungam lengayate girim yakripatamaham bande shigurun dinataranam paramananda madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, to devotional service. And isn't it text number 23? Is that what it is?
22.
Oh, it's 22 now? I'll try to do that one. Okay, is it on the board?
Yes.
Okay. Vahayite,
Vahayite,
te, nayane, naranam, Vahayite, te, nayane, naranam, Lingani, Vishnu, Niriksato, Ye, Lingani, Vishnu, Niriksato, Ye, Pada, Nrinam, Tau, Druma, Janma, Bajo, Adaninam Tau Druma Janma Baja, Kshetrani, Nanu, Vrajito, Hare, Yao, Kshetrani Nanu Vrajito, Hare, Yao, Vahayite te nayane naranam, Lingani Vishnur nani lekshito ye, Adaninam tau drumajanma baja, Kshetrani nanu vrajito hareya, Aite te nayane naranam, Lingani Vishnur nani lekshito ye, Adaninam tau drumajanma baja, Kshetrani nanu vrajito hareya,
Vahayite te nayane naranam, Lingani Vishnu nandiri kashato jay,
Lingani Vishnu nani lekshito ye,
it's nirikshito.
Nirikshito.
Nirikshito. Okay. Padamyanam tau druma janma bajao,
Padaninam tau drumajanma baja,
Kshetrani nanu brajato hare jao,
Kshetrani nanu vrajito hareya,
Bharayate te nayane naranam,
Vahayite te nayane naranam,
Lingani Vishnurna nirikshato ye,
Lingani Vishnu nani lekshito ye,
Padao Nirnam Tao Druma Janma Bhajao.
Padam Tao Druma Janma Bhajao.
Kshetrani Nanu Vrajato Hareyao.
Kshetrani Nanu Vrajato Hareyao.
Bahayiteta Nayane Naranam.
Bahayiteta Nayane Naranam.
Lingani Vishnu Nanirachatoye.
Lingani Vishnu Nanirachatoye.
Padunananta Druma Janma Bhajo.
Padam Druma Janma Bhajo.
Kshetrani Nanu Vrajato Hareya.
Kshetrani Nanu Vrajato Hareyao. Bahayitete Nayane Naranam. Lingani Vishnu Nanirikshatoye. Hadavinam Tao Druma Janma Bhajao. Kshetrani Nanu Vrajato Hareyao. Bahayitete Nayane Naranam. Lingani Vishnu Nanirikshatoye. Hadavinam Tao Druma Janma Bhajao. Kshetrani Nanu Vrajato Hareyao. Bahayitete Nayane Naranam. Lingani Vishnu Nanirikshatoye. Hadavinam Tao Druma Janma Bhajao. Kshetrani Nanu Vrajato Hareyao. Bahayitete Nayane Naranam. Lingani Vishnu Nanirikshatoye. Hadavinam Tao Druma Janma Bhajao. Kshetrani Nanu Vrajato Hareyao. Bahayitete Nayane Naranam. Lingani Vishnu Nanirikshatoye. Padam Tao Druma Janma Bhajao. Kshetrani Nanu Vrajato Hareyao. Bahayite, like plumes of a peacock. Day goes, Nayane, eyes, Naranam, of men, Lingani, forms, Vishnu, of the personality of Godhead. Na, does not. Nidikshita, look upon. Yea, all sich, pada, blades, Nrinam, of men, Tau, those, Drumajanma, being born of the trees, Bhaja, like that, Kshetrani, holy places, Na, never, Anuvrajataha, goes after Hare of the Lord,
of the Lord,
Yah,
Yah,
which the eyes which do not look at the symbolic representations of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, his form, name, quality, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of the peacock, and the legs which do not move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered, are considered to be like tree trunks. Please repeat. The eyes which do not look at the symbolic representation of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, his form, name, quality, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of the peacock, and the legs which do not move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered, are considered to be like tree trunks. Srila Prabhupada's divine purport. A little bit lengthy. Please try to pay attention. Let's see. Maybe this birthday will help. Sean can come and pass it on. Okay, here we go. Especially for the household devotees, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended. As far as possible, every householder, by the direction of the spiritual master, must install the deity of Vishnu, forms like Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayana, or Sita Ram, especially, or any other form of the Lord, like Nisimha, Varaha, Gauri Dai, Matsya, Kurma, Shalagram Shila, and many other forms of Vishnu, like Trivikram, Kesava, Achyuta, Vasudev, Narayan, and Damodar, are recommended in the Vaishnava Tantras or Puranas, and one's family should worship strictly, following the directions and regulations of Archana Vidhi. Any member of the family who is above 12 years of age should be initiated by a bona fide spiritual master. And all the members of the household should be engaged in the daily service of the Lord, beginning from morning 4 a.m. till night 10 p.m. by performing Mangalarti, Nirajana, Archana, Puja, Kirtan, Sringara, Bhoja Vaikali, Sajja, Arti, and Pada, Boulder at night, Sayana Arti, etc. Engagement in such worship of the deity under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master will greatly help the householders to purify their very existence and make rapid progress in spiritual knowledge. Simple theoretical book knowledge is not sufficient for a neophyte devotee. Book knowledge is theoretical, whereas the Archana process is practical. Spiritual knowledge must be developed by a combination of the theoretical and practical knowledge, and that is the guaranteed way for attainment of spiritual perfection. The training of devotional service for a neophyte devotee completely depends on the expert spiritual master who knows how to lead his disciple to make gradual progress toward the path of back home, back to Godhead. One should not become a pseudo-spiritual master. It's a matter of business to meet one's family expenditures. One must be an expert spiritual master to deliver the disciple from the clutches of impending death. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has defined the bona fide qualities of a spiritual master. And one of the verses in that description reads, Sri Vigraha Radha Yanana Shringaratan Mandira Majanaro Yukta Shabaktam Cha Niyunjito Pi Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam. Sri Vigraha is the archer or suitable worship form of the Lord, and the disciples should be engaged in worshiping the deity regularly by Sringar, by proper decoration and dressing. It's also by Mandira Marjana, the matter of cleansing the temple. The spiritual master teaches the neophyte devotee all these kindly and personally. He teaches the neophyte devotee all these kindly and personally to help him gradually in the realization of the transcendental name, quality, form, etc. of the Lord. Only attention engaged in the service of the Lord, especially in dressing and decorating the temple, accompanied by musical kirtan and spiritual instructions from the scriptures, can save the common man from the hellish cinerama attractions and rubbish sex songs broadcast everywhere by radios. Internet also nowadays. If one is unable to maintain a temple at home, he should go to another's temple where all the above performances are regularly executed. Visiting the temple of a devotee and looking at the profusely decorated forms of the Lord, well dressed in a well decorated, sanctified temple, naturally infuses the mundane mind with spiritual inspiration. People should visit holy places like Vrindavan, where such temples and worship of the deity are specifically maintained. Formerly, all rich men, like kings and rich merchants, constructed such temples under the direction of expert devotees of the Lord, like the 6 Goswamis. And it is the duty of the common man to take advantage of these temples and festivals observed in the holy places of pilgrimage by following in the footsteps of great devotees, Anugraja. One should not visit all these sanctified pilgrimage places and temples with sightseeing in mind, but one must go to such temples and sanctified places immortalized by the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, and be guided by proper men who know the science. This is called anubraja. Anu means to follow. It is therefore best to follow the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master, even in visiting temples and the holy places of pilgrimage. One who does not move in that way is as good as a standing tree, condemned by the Lord not to move. The moving tendency of the human being is misused by visiting places for sightseeing. The best purpose of such traveling tendencies could be fulfilled by visiting the holy places established by great acharyas, and thereby not being misled by the atheistic propaganda of money-making men who have no knowledge of spiritual matters. Thus ends the Bhagavatam purport to the 22nd verse of the 3rd chapter, 2nd canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, pure devotional service. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Adinati Landasha Nanjala Shalakaya Kachun Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chi Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Andeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Vrajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahaguna Raghunatan Vitam Let's cut somewhere. Let's see, Lalita Vishakan Titans Cha Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabando Jagapate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gulangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Stuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpya Vyascha Kripasinduyevacha Patitam Nama Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So somehow or other the common man or person, he has to take advantage of the temple. It may be difficult for some, and it may be easy for others to simply go to a temple, because at the temple there generally is some brahmanas and brahmacharis or single people, even married people who are maintaining worship and Bhagavatam classes and helping people with some sort of tour of the place, and as well as conducting festivals for the general mass of people. And there's so many services that people can do, or they can just stop by for darshan, and they are free to chant and take prasadam, and there's no burden of doing it themselves, so to speak, no burden of orchestrating it. They can just come and take advantage of the facility and get the darshan of the most merciful Lord. On the other hand, it may be easier for people, maybe like too far to drive, So, so many temples are right in cities, so everybody in the neighborhood, it's very easy for them just to walk there, It's like it's easy for everybody just like right around here to come here, but people down the golf course, Hattiesburg, Marlin, Covington, wherever it may be, it's really out of the way to do on a regular basis. So it would certainly be easier for those people to maintain some form of sadhana. They should have the deity in their home, at least in the form of a picture, but there's nothing wrong with having a little murti, and it can only be to one's advantage. One could just wake up and offer the deity some incense and flower, and just chant one's rounds since they have to go to work. And then, since you have to eat something, whatever you eat, just offer it to the deity, and with as much devotion as possible. If one has time, he can chant a little kirtan. If not, then one can take breakfast and go to work. But at least there's some regular sadhana, and it's not a matter of going to sleep, hearing the news, or hearing all the gossip and all the traumatic and terrible things that have been going on in the neighborhood, and going to bed and waking up and just brushing one's teeth and putting on some clothes and eating something and going to work, and through never a day to try to fulfill the needs of the company or the master. And that way, life goes on, and only happiness is some recreation and family life. Doing something with the kids or having kids. Otherwise, the mind is just always absorbed in this world. It can't help to be. The whole thing takes over. There's so much to absorb one, from our own difficulties and the difficulties of others, or our own sins or the sins of others, and what to speak of the world. If we're not absorbed in our own community or neighborhood things, then it's the world, which is highly advertised. It replaces the Bhagavatam class, Fox News, CNN, or this sent around the program or that sent around the program. And that way, our mind becomes fixed on life and human society, fruited work. And as Krishna says in the Gita, those who die in such passionate life, they take birth on earth, to engage in fruited work. So the devotional life is, it's a lot different. It is centered around the Lord, and the Lord doesn't waste his time incarnating as a deity. He's not simply a statue. It's not like there's statues to be made that can be sold in a gift store. Look, there's Hindu statues. Let me get one to put on, this little column that I have here. It would be a nice, ornament, decoration in the house. Look, that figure of Vishnu. Look, and I have this Ganesh on the fireplace here, far out, No, it's, they're not just decorations for, to have some Eastern look to your house. So, the deity should be there. And, if not, one should be around the temple like we are, where, we're participating in actually, in temple activities. It's not Vrindavan, but it is New Talavana. So the only difference is Vrindavan is in Vrindavan, and there's generally a higher standard or more forceful standard, because there's competition amongst thousands of temples, with legacies, traditions going back a lot further than 40 years, and generations of families and lines of disciplic succession that are surround the place with a peer pressure that forces people to engage in devotion. Whereas here we're like a pioneer, and that's greatly appreciated, by the line of disciplic succession, the Supreme Lord himself. Therefore, there's some special mercy, for pioneers, people who are trying to establish a temple. It takes a couple hundred years, a lot of devotion to really make a permanent temple. So, but we have that opportunity, to be, maintaining the deity of the Lord. This is not an ordinary thing to maintain the Lord's deity. Krishna incarnates, and he expects service. He was always served in Dwarka by thousands of queens, thousands of children. just thousands of brahmanas. I mean, when I say thousands, I mean hundreds of thousands, even millions. And even Krishna's children were millions of children. And in Vrindavan, it's a little bit different because everyone's, worshiping him as Gopal. He's got all these cowboy activities going on. And it's not an opulent affair dealing with beautiful jewelry and gold ornaments and things like that in a temple in a sort of grahastha setting in palaces like in Dwarka or Mathura. But here it's like that village life, and certainly there's temples, but Krishna's mother Yasoda is doing that. Krishna is just a little boy. Little boys don't engage in worship. They may see the deity, but they're little boys. And since it's a cowherd village, they're engaged in regular work. They're not brahmanas. Taking care of the temple, they're taking care of the cows. So because it's Krishna, all these people are absorbed in that transcendental form that's moving amongst them, is one of them. And so they're captivated by Yoga Maya to a degree that we can only vaguely understand by comparing it to how we may be captivated in our, in this human society by someone moving amongst us. But it's trillions of times more than that. So here, the difference is that Krishna incarnates in a temple, and he does that because there are brahmanas, or people who are devoted to such worship, whose lives are different from other people who have to worry about making some form of wealth to sustain society. And in a Vedic society, they are also sustaining those brahmanas. Without a Vedic society, the brahmanas have to actually go out more and ask for more donations. There's more of an emphasis put on it. We have to go out and sell our books, to maintain. Because there's not a Vedic society with a Kshatriya government and, rich merchants and, common farmers and a bunch of laborers who are just doing everything for the temple. I mean, to some extent, you see like a perverted reflection of it. I don't want to make it sound perverted. It's not perverted, but I mean, compared to what it was 5,000 years ago, it's a little bit, you can see a perverted reflection of actually that 5,000, how it was 5,000 years ago in Vrindavan today, or where there's any temple. I mean, like you go to Tirupati, well, the whole government is around it, and it's there to sustain that temple. I mean, even the Indian government claims to be maintaining the temple. The federal government. Although, there's a lot of question about how they do that. But, that's meant to be argued about. You're not maintaining it properly. So you can see a perverted reflection of it, where you have a town where all the Vaishyas, they're making sure that the temple has enough of everything. And there's no problem finding people to make garlands. There's no problem finding people to clean the altar. And it's not like you have to pay them a lot. And the Vaishyas are giving you money to pay some people to get up there and do something, and do this and do that. So you see that it's there even today. But here, we have to establish everything. So just finding some Brahmins even to maintain the worship is like very difficult. Instead of having like a town surrounding us, we develop a congregation. That means essentially a donor base of people who are going to support the temple. And those people, they don't always live around you. They may live all over the country. They may not even get to come here. But somehow ever they have some relationship and they're serving. So, if you don't do that, then there's no support. And basically in the Western world, every church is supported like that. Every religious institution is supported like that, including the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But we had to have Brahmins, else, what kind of temple is it? I mean, there'll be different kinds of temples. Maybe it's the kind of temple where you close the door on Sunday evening, and maybe somebody comes in and opens it up to do something some days of the week. I mean, wouldn't be a lot going on, but maybe on Sunday there's some people that come there, so they open it up and they do some puja, like you see Hindu temples like that all over the country. In Baton Rouge, they have this big, instead of a gate, which we would like to have also in front of the deity, so people just can't jump on up there. They have like this glass doors. They just lock the glass door and lock the door of the building and don't come back till Sunday. Then they open it up and they find some priest. They can do some puja for the deity. And they all cook something and they offer it to the deity and they chant some bhajans and, the priest says something and then they all eat and clean up and close the glass doors and leave the building and lock it up till next week. So that goes on. Yeah, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he's there for them too. To really absorb one's mind, like Prabhupada is pointing out in his purport, so that our eyes aren't just like the eyes of peacocks, eyes printed on the plumes, the feathers of the peacock, or what was the other one he talked about today? Legs. Our legs aren't like tree trunks because all they do is go to work. Of course, that's all right if we're giving the fruits of our labor to Krishna, but the legs actually are taking us to the temple. We go home. We have to go home. We can't take a bath here. So you go home. But, your legs carry you back to the temple. They're not carrying us to the Cinerama or to the restaurant or to go over to so-and-so's house, to watch a movie or to chit-chat like that. They're not just moving in the world of money, so to speak, or in the world of governance, or in the world of work. No, they're moving to the temple. So that's an amazing thing, when we have, the temple develops where there's a community of people, of those people who perform a constant worship of the Lord, or Brahmins. How can they do that unless they have some realization that the Lord is here? The Lord is everywhere, but He's incarnated in this temple. His deity is Krishna, and the spiritual master, we'll read tomorrow, how taking the dust from the spiritual master is how we gain realization and go back home to Godhead. But what is that dust? Prabhupada's pointing out this verse, and he's quoting from an Acharya from the 1700s, that the spiritual master teaches the disciple to worship the deity. The spiritual master doesn't have a common place of business. He has a temple. And so, how does he train up disciples? Well, he's going to be taking off one day. So he has to have some disciples to carry on the worship of the deity. So he has to train them up. And we have to dress the deities every day. You have to come in, you have to take off their pajamas, and you have to bathe them. I mean, that's just what people do. That's what gods do when they want, and that's what the deities do. So after you bathe them, then you dress them. And it's a whole thing, where you're meditating on the form of the Lord. And able to actually do what the cowherd boys in Vandana do. They go over and help Mother Yasoda dress Krishna. And the cowherd girls are helping Mother Yasoda cook for Krishna. And in Dwarka, the Brahmins are maintaining a temple, but Krishna's queens are cooking for him. And, he's probably got some servants that are helping him get dressed. I mean, you can't expect Krishna to tie some necklace behind his neck all the time. It's an opulent life in Dwarka, so that means there's all kinds of people that assist you in doing something. Only poor people don't have no assistance. Rich people have all sorts of assistance. There's somebody tying the thing behind your neck, and somebody brushing off your shoes and helping you to put them on. If you have some sort of socks, they help you get your socks on. All these things, people are helping Krishna get dressed. The queens may come do it themselves. There may be a queen there even fanning Krishna, because there may be some of the bees that want to, get the nectar from his lotus feet. So at that time, you may have used the whisk to, shoot a bee away, and all sorts of things going on. Everybody engaged in Krishna's service. So, to train us to live in the Leela, they have temples on earth. This is what the spiritual master does, and he has a unique science, just like these people that teach Hatha Yoga and all these other yogas. Well, it consumes people, the exercise is just, you're always concerned about how much you eat, because you have to be doing this breathing exercise, and you have to keep your limbs really flexible, because you're getting old, but you got to keep everything flexible, and the bones can't get too frail, because you have to be an example, because you're teaching students to do this. This is the perfection of life, to do this with all the hope that somehow ever you're going to perceive yourself as soul and burst out of the body of something at the end of life. So just as those people those yogis are consumed in their activities, the bhakti yoga system is a system of temple worship. The hearing and chanting takes place in the temple, but that's just one part of it. Hearing and chanting is Bhagavatam class. Hearing and chanting is Japamala. But that's hearing and chanting. There's other things that go on also, like the puja. If there was no hearing and chanting, then it would be something like going there on Sunday and opening it up and, tidying things up and bringing in the food that everybody cooked at home and, offering it, and then, singing some bhajans and going home. That's nice for that 2, 3, 4 hours. But it's different in the temple. If there's, we have hearing and chanting all the time. We're always hearing and chanting Krishna's glories, because he's the most opulent and most attractive person. We don't want to hear and chant about this singer. There's all kinds of singers in the world. There's the old singers, there's the singers from our time, and there's the new ones, on this song show, that song show. They pay them $1 million if they win, and you get a contract, and you become one of the next superstars in your region of the world. Because every country has one. Every country has. They have, what do they call it? Idol, American Idol show. Every country, there's Irish, Idol show. And it's not only for singers, but they have the ones for dances. And the ones even for comedians and magicians, for entertainers. All these shows, and people, we get all wrapped up in these people. And these people are just living through their karma. They've been blessed to get that type of role. It's one type of blessing of material opulence, but it's another type of fragility, like it's being pointed out in these verses. What good is all of it if they don't go to the temple? What good of it is it if they don't see the deity? So it's not that these people are not all devotees. Some are devotees. Some do go to the temple. Some do support the temple. Just on Sunday, we had one movie actress. Now, she's an American movie actress. She didn't know much about this. But she came with my son, Sugosh. And I didn't know the lady. She's a pretty big star. I was, Talavana told me I was. I didn't know. She's like paid $100,000 for every episode, and she's doing 26 episodes every week in New Orleans is where it's being filmed. The lead character gets paid $1 million for every episode. You know, her 12-year-old son, he's going to be 12 soon. You know, he liked Lord Shiva. She wanted to give him a book. He asked me, what Hindu god do y'all? Which Hindu god do you like? That's what he asked me. I said, well, we're devotees of Krishna, you know. So she came to the temple on Sunday, you know. So, but in India, there are plenty of movie actresses who are devotees. You know, who do go to the temple, who do see the deity, who do support Brahmins to carry on the worship. And there are government officials who do the same. Just like in America, there's government officials who maintain churches. You know, George Bush Sr. maintained one Methodist church to the degree that he specifically went out of his way to bring one Brahmin minister to come minister at that church, because he found him not only articulate, but very motivational, sincere, inspirational, and he wanted him there for the church he attended, for that congregation. And that was in Houston. This man was in Pensacola, Florida. He had to promise his family that, you know, he would be taken care of properly. Because that was the man was going to minister at his father's church. So, you know, I mean, just like there are government figures that do that in America, there's many of them that do that in India. So we see that, you know, there's Vedic cultures there, and Prabhupada has waken it up. You know, we have to arouse it and not, you know, put it asleep by being somehow ever taking all these things in a nonchalant way. And, you know, it's very, you know, us maintaining these Brahminical activities is what the spiritual master wants. And, you know, the spiritual master has to train people, he has to encourage people. So that movie actress, she bought a couple of books. She bought a Krishna book. Hopefully she'll read it. Prabhupada's benediction is a person will become a devotee if they read Krishna book. And she bought something else, can't even remember now. She bought one other book.
Was she the one with the cow, with the long hair?
I can't even remember how long the hair was. She was with Goshi and, you know, his fiancé.
Yeah.
And she had a little boy with her.
Yeah.
Her name was Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa.
Oh yeah, so she came over with the cow. It's the picture.
She's an actor.
And
She goes to Sudarshan's, the little boy goes to Sudarshan's.
excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got a picture of her son on the cow's face.
I think she's from New York. Yeah, she is from
She's
New
from
York.
Brooklyn.
She's from New York. So she's here working. She's not, I don't think she's going to make a home here. But, that's what the temple is for, you know, for people coming to serve Krishna. But because it's Krishna, Krishna has many people who are constantly serving him. Those people are known as Brahmins. Because why? Because they must know Krishna because they're constantly serving him. It's not because they were born in a certain family or dynasty. It's because they're serving Krishna. That's why. They're always serving Krishna. I think Prabhupada brought that out in one of the other purports. You know, or maybe it was something else I was reading. That is, I think it was in Chaitanya Charitamrita a couple of days ago. That it's not based on family, it's based on serving Krishna. You know, you have to be serving Krishna. And in some way or another, but a Brahmin is serving Krishna all the time, and he's engaging other people in serving Krishna. You know, Brahmin's not paid, he's given donations to use in Krishna's service. So a Brahmin also gives lots of charity, because if he receives lots of charity, because he has to engage people in Krishna's service. So he'll engage, you know, he'll buy, he'll give somebody money to buy a bunch of bhoga, and you know, make a big feast, and you know, he'll give some money to maintain this family over here to do this, and that family over there to do this. It's depending on how much charity that he's receiving. But he doesn't keep big bank accounts, you know, and start investing it like a Vaishya. No, he's maintaining a temple and increasing the worship of the Lord and increasing the realization of the people. So he's trying to find some other people. You know, he has to notice, you know, what kid or what person has an inspiration to serve, and he has to inspire them and try to make them a devotee. Prabhupada used to say, I couldn't make no kids, no people devotees in India. But when I came to America, I attracted some young people, and I'm training them to worship the Lord. Like that. So that's the duty of a Brahmin. He has to find some people to engage in Krishna's service. Otherwise, he feels very sad at heart because there's no one to maintain Krishna when he leaves. So, I guess that's it. You know, we're kind of, we're all fading out. It's already 8:49, so I'll go ahead and end here. Tomorrow verse will be text number 23. Srila Prabhupada. Hey, Krishna. We all need some encouragement.
I was giving out pamphlets.
So sweet that we did this
Sometimes we
Yeah. That way, you'll gradually revive our spontaneous love and devotion. Be able to, actually join in Leela without envying all of his possessions, qualities and stuff.
We're rascals.
You got to get rid of
That's why we're here.
cleanse out dirty hearts.
I think about that often. What did you
Krishna's
do?
mercy. Huh?
I think about that often. What did I do?
The yogis try very hard to do it, but it's very hard through mechanical processes. It's easy through bhakti because Krishna does it,
So sweet.
Krishna becomes pleased and helps him heal the desires and become fixated on our spiritual desires to serve him. The desire just is replaced or it's changed, instead of always being worried about my sense gratification. We just so absorbed in serving Krishna and the joy that's experienced from that. All devotional service becomes real joyful. So we take pleasure in just doing different things for Krishna.
That's what I noticed. It's so sweet, all of it. Whether I'm scrubbing the toilet or sweeping the floor, it's just all.
Because it's
so
all
sweet.
Krishna. It's all Krishna consciousness.
Hopefully soon I can have the honor of dressing the deities.
One day, huh?
Krishna Lily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different ways to do it, but one thing is you can pray just as you're approaching someone, pray just as you show, and you're giving the most valuable jewel in life. Oh, nice. Recently? Yeah, that's a lot. Nice. Rallies. Self-empowered. And then you can empower others.
I guess, what's her name? Kara, she gets some credit for Mandira Margina cleansing the temple.
Yes, she was that.